establishment is.
Thank you. On July 4th, 1776, America proclaimed to the world that it was a sovereign nation. The Declaration of Independence marked a beginning and laid a foundation upon which a new nation could be built. It was the match that lit the flame of freedom. The Founding Fathers didn't stop there. After officially gaining independence, they had to create a government. So our Constitution was born. It begins with these words: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." This is the eloquent preamble to the United States Constitution. Its rich words lay out the vision that the framers foresaw. They wanted a more perfect union. They desired justice, peace, protection, prosperity, and liberty. But how is this document supposed to bring about all these benefits to our country? What I would like to share with you today is that the Founding Fathers understood that the way to accomplish the vision of the Constitution's preamble was to create a government and a constitution based on principles. They understood that since even good leaders are prone to making mistakes, they must operate under a proper form of government. Because of this, they did not make our nation a monarchy or a dictatorship. But many today mistakenly think that instead they gave us a democracy. Such is not the case. When we pledge to the flag, we pledge to the Republic of the United States, not the democracy of the United States. In fact, while the Founding Fathers could have made our nation a democracy, they were strongly opposed to such a choice. Founding Father Fisher Ames said, "A democracy is a volcano which conceals the fiery materials of its own destruction." John Adams cautioned, "Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide." What is the difference? What makes our republic different than a democracy? While a dictionary may define a republic as a government consisting of elected representatives, it means much more than that. The Founding Fathers understood that the key difference between a republic and a democracy is the source of its authority. A democracy is based on whatever a majority of the people feel at a given time. Conversely, a republic is based on principles upon which that government operates. In a democracy, a majority of the people could decide that murder should no longer be a crime. In our republic, however, murder is always wrong because it violates our founding principles. Our Founding Fathers felt this was so important that they included a section in our Constitution to ensure that America remained a republic. Article 4, Section 4 states, "The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government." A democracy is the deterioration of a republic and always collapses. As George Washington said, "Government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Never for a moment should it be left to irresponsible action." A strong nation can only be built on solid principles, with men and women of integrity that abide by those principles. If our country does not stay within the boundaries of its founding principles, it is like a train jumping off of the tracks. Tyranny, anarchy, and lawlessness inevitably follows. Throughout history, there have been many republics that have come and gone. So why has ours been so successful? The answer lies in the source of the founding principles of our country. In an attempt to determine where the Founding Fathers got their amazing ideas, the University of Houston embarked on an ambitious project. They took some 15,000 writings from the Founding Fathers and narrowed it down to 3,154 direct quotes that the Founding Fathers made. Then they spent the following 10 years identifying the source of each one of their quotes. The results were startling. The number one source they quoted, almost 4 times higher than the next highest source, was the Bible. 34% of their quotes came directly out of the Bible. Founding Father Noah Webster explained what many of the Founding Fathers believed. He said, the moral principles and precepts contained in the Scriptures ought to form the basis of all our civil constitutions and laws. George Washington said, it is impossible to rightly govern the world without God and the Bible. The Bible, they said, was not only the source of their ideas, but it was the only basis upon which our government could function. With this understanding, our Founding Fathers crafted our Constitution according to biblical principles. But a good Constitution is not enough. It must be maintained by good moral people. As John Adams said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Unfortunately, there are some today who feel that we need a separation of church and state, and that biblical principles should be separated from civil government and the public arena. Is this in accordance with what the Founding Fathers originally intended for our nation? What is the impact of this philosophy? In the 1960s, the Supreme Court began making decisions based on these ideas. School prayer was suddenly, without precedent, ruled unconstitutional. After being used for the past 300 years in America, the use of the Bible in schools was also ruled unconstitutional. They invoked not legal precedent, not the Founding Fathers, not the Constitution or any other founding document to make their decision, but a psychologist who said, if portions of the New Testament were read without explanation, they could be and had been psychologically harmful to the student. In the case of Stone versus Graham, the court said, quote, if the posted copy of the Ten Commandments are to have any effect at all, it will be to induce the school children to read, meditate upon, perhaps to venerate and obey the commandments. This is not permissible, unquote. What has happened in the time since these rulings were made? Since the 1960s, violent crime has increased almost 800%. Spending on prisons has increased 600% since 1979. Statistics show that a significant percentage of these crimes are committed by school-age children. Children who are not allowed to see religious teachings such as don't kill and don't steal. These are only a few of the many shocking statistics. Does this sound like the domestic tranquility and general welfare that our Founding Fathers envisioned for our nation? Could it be that these problems are a result of our leaving and ignoring the founding principles of our country? George Washington understood what could happen to our nation. He said, the favorable smiles of heaven can never be expected on a nation that disregards the eternal rules of order and right, which heaven itself has ordained. Throughout history, many great nations have collapsed from within. This warns us that failure to follow our founding principles could lead to our demise. Our Founding Fathers had a vision that they outlined in our Constitution's preamble. I am very grateful to our veterans who have fought to defend this Constitution. It is our duty to ensure that their sacrifice was not made in vain. As founder Benjamin Rush said, every citizen of a republic must watch for the state as if its liberties depended upon his vigilance alone. As citizens of a republic, we have duties to our country. 3 of the most important ones are, 1, we must study and understand our founding principles.